ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਹੈ ਸਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਉਸ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਰਾਬੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰਾਂ ਤੇ ਜਵਾਬੀ ਹਮਲੇ ਦੀ ਨਵੀਂ ਤਰਕੀਬ ਤੇ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨਲ ਯੂਨਿਟ ਤਿਆਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਸਰਜੈਂਟ ਪੋਲੌਕ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਸਰਜੈਂਟ ਪੋਲੌਕ ਦੱਸਣਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸ਼ਰਾਬੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਕਈ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਵਾਰਦਾਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਨੱਥ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ Sergeant Pollock, thank you very much for joining us. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Please tell us about your new operation counter-attack on the drunk drivers.
Yeah, so Surrey Police is obviously, we're very focused on traffic safety because traffic safety is public safety. And as a result, we've created a new impaired driving unit that's going to focus on enforcement, particularly with impaired drivers. We've got currently have 6 members, including an inspector who's in charge of the unit, who are focused on this particular issue. And later we'll ramp up with a few more members later this year. And all these officers are experts in investigating impaired driving and impaired driving collisions, and they're qualified drug recognition experts, and they're also qualified to conduct breath test analysis.
Mm-hmm. So the new unit will be initially staffed with a 5 officer. You think in this big city that's enough?
Well, traffic safety is an issue that all officers address. To start with, 5 officers is I think, an adequate number of officers. Obviously, we're going to try and ramp up to 7 later this year. But all officers, including frontline officers and our road safety section officers, are focused on traffic safety and conduct impaired driving investigations.
I think there's already counterattack programs. What this unit will do that was not previously being done?
Well, so our units, like I said, they're all experts in the field with regard to drug recognition experts and breath test analysis, as well as criminal code driving investigations. And the difference is that this unit is focused specifically in the Surrey area.
Mm-hmm. And they will just have some kind of blockades and stand on the roads, or this is a different kind of program that you can stop vehicles then you have a suspicion of somebody drinking and driving?
Of course, yeah. Officers that I'm sure they will do, roadblocks, and spot checks, but they will also be driving around and conducting vehicle stops and investigating people who appear to be impaired by drug or alcohol.
Mm-hmm. So it's not limited to the alcohol only.
No, we've certainly seen, in the past number of years, impairment by drug seems to be an increasing trend. So these officers are qualified experts that can detect when somebody is impaired by drug.
What are the fines and penalties of a driver who's impaired?
Well, I mean, they can vary. It's all fines and penalties, obviously are dictated by the courts, but they can vary depending on what sentencing is.
Mm-hmm. But isn't it the discretion of the police officer at the spot?
Oh, no, sir. No, we don't. We just conduct the enforcement, and then we recommend charges to the Crown Council. They decide whether a person who's been arrested finally gets charged, and then at trial, if convicted, it's up to the judge to decide what the final penalty is.
At what alcohol level or the level of impairment you will confiscate the vehicle and take the license away from the driver?
Well, so, I mean, we can. There's also something called an immediate roadside prohibition. But for impaired driving, the actual legal limit is 0.08 or 80 milligrams per 100 milliliters of blood of alcohol. But impairment can occur at a much lower level. So depending on, somebody may have 0 alcohol in their system, but they may be impaired by drugs. So they could get charged with impaired driving, and at that point their vehicle would get confiscated.
I'm sure you're aware of that. All the drivers here driving in Surrey do not have British Columbia driving licenses. Some of them are driving, many of them are driving with the Indian driving license or a driving license given to them, by other countries. How do you deal with those drivers?
Well, I mean, once somebody becomes a permanent resident in the city of Surrey, they're supposed to change their license to BC driver's license, and that process is done through ICBC. For us, we investigate people with foreign driver's license, and if they're valid, they're treated as if they have a valid driver's license.
Do you have any instructions that driver license from this country or international driving license will be dealt such or a certain way?
I'm not sure what you mean, but I mean, our problem is, or the challenge for the service would be determining whether they're valid. We don't have access to, driving records or driver's license status in certain other nations. So if they appear valid on their face, we would treat them as valid.
What I'm trying to say is, if you have somebody you have stopped with a BC driving license, you have the opportunity to look into the background of the driver. But if it's a foreign country driving license, you have no way of finding out how many times he has been charged, impaired. What is his background?
Yeah, correct. Yes, we wouldn't unless they were charged previously in BC. If somebody has a foreign driver's license and they're charged in British Columbia, then the ICBC would generate a BC driver's license number so that we can look up their past history in BC. Mm-hmm. But if it's a foreign driver's license, no, we wouldn't know their history in another country.
Sergeant Pollock, anything else you'd like to say in closing to the drivers here in Surrey particularly?
Well, like I said, sir, earlier, traffic safety is public safety, and we've obviously seen an increase in, traffic related incidents. And so that's why we're out there. People should expect that if they're driving impaired by drug or alcohol in the city of Surrey, they should expect that they're going to get stopped. And if they're breaking the law, that enforcement actions will be taken. Thank you very much for joining us, Sergeant, and talk to you again. All right. Take care, sir. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Sergeant Pollock ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਸ਼ਰਾਬੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਵਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਇਸ ਯੂਨਿਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 5 ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫੀਸਰ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਇਨਸਪੈਕਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਇਹ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਨਾਕੇ ਵੀ ਲਾਉਣਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੋਰਨ ਡਰਾਈਵਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਡੀਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਡਰਾਈਵਰਸ ਨੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਡਰਾਈਵਿੰਗ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਫੜਨਗੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੈਕਗ੍ਰਾਉਂਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਚਾਰਜ ਸ਼ੀਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ offense ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ICBC ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰੈਕੋਰਡ ਜਨਰੇਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵਰਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਥੇ ਰੈਕੋਰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਦੇ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਚੀਨ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੋਕਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਮਿਲੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਬ੍ਰੈਥਲਾਈਜ਼ਰ ਲਾਏ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਈ ਟੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਡਰੱਗ ਰੈਕੋਗਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੇ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਕੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਸੰਭਲ ਕੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ ਸਖਤੀ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਜੁਰਮਾਨੇ ਭਾਰੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਸ਼ਰਾਬ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਦੂਜਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਖਤਰੇ 'ਚ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ